Yeah, here's the One America News Network Shorts channel, I guess, or Facebook Reels or whatever the hell you call it. Just take a look at some of these. What do we got? What's this? This is Tom Homan, border czar, head of ICE, I believe, or one of the heads of ICE.
The money. A lot of folks are going to say, you're spending billions. I thought we were in debt and we should be saving money, and Doge wants us to cut. Tom, explain to my viewers, though, that if we allow the 18 to 20 million just to stay here that Joe and Kamala let in, it would cost this nation trillions down the road.
It's just delusion, complete delusion all the way down. 18 to 20 million is the total number of immigrants in the country, not undocumented immigrants, not people that cross the border, people that live here and got temporary status of temporary residency or permanent residency or full-blown citizens that immigrated here from other countries. Europe, Asia, Australia, Africa, everywhere. 18 to 20 million total. So that is 6% of the country. You tell me you're going to deport 6% of the country, and you think that all of those people are like leeches that are sucking the country dry of resources? That's not happening. Okay, most of these people are productive, tax-paying members of society. Not that it matters. In my mind, we should take care of our tired, our poor, our huddled masses, like the Statue of Liberty says. But this is just delusion all the way down from these people.
That Joe and Kamala let in, it would cost this nation trillions down the road. So why not spend a few billion now to get rid of them? Not to mention,
it would cost trillions to get rid of them, not just in the cost of deporting people, but in the economic benefit they provide. The more people who are part of an economy, the larger that economy, the larger the gross domestic product, the more spending is taking place.
the security risk and the crime and the drugs and the guns.
Well, look, first of all, I don't put a price on national security. You said it before.
Amen.
You can't have strong national security if you don't have border security. We need to know who's coming in, what's coming in, where's coming in, why.
Yeah, we do actually know all of those answers. We do. It is a bad thing to shrink our economy by deporting people. It's bad economically. It's a violent, ugly thing to do. Tearing families apart, sending them to war-torn areas. I mean, the Trump regime tried to, I don't know if they succeeded, they may have, tried to start shipping people who were asylum seekers, refugees for political persecution and stuff, tried to ship them to Libya, which is at like a level 4 travel advisory. There's a civil war there right now. There is no government, dropping them literally in a war zone that they and we have no stake in at all. That's just cruelty for cruelty's sake. Cruelty is the point.
Kind of all those things, right? So I don't put a price on national security, but look, the big, beautiful bill, it's a big number for border security, but it's a one-time cost. You know, secure the border and run this deportation operation. But the big...
They're showing the El Salvadorian concentration camp. Fucking disgusting.
Millions of dollars we're currently spending on, you know, the millions of illegal aliens here, whether schools, hospitals, social services, food banks. I can go on and on, you know, the billions of dollars that we're spending in perpetuity.
Yep.
For illegal aliens.
Now, first of all, there aren't 18 to 20 million illegal aliens. That's immigrants in the United States total, I believe. How many immigrants were in the U.S. total in, I don't know, I'm looking for a stable year because COVID wasn't very stable. And then the whole Trump thing wasn't very stable. 2019, before COVID. It went up and it went down and changed. Okay, it looks like actually there are 45 million immigrants total, defined as foreign-born individuals living in the U.S. 14% of the country. Is that right? I can't trust this. No, I don't think that's right. I can't tell. It's so hard to find data on this, like data that's trustworthy, because it's all coming from like the Trump regime's like websites and stuff. Anyway, the situation is significantly different than they're portraying, obviously.
Welfare and you know, all these social services that are meant for tax-paying U.S. citizens, it's going to be a cost savings to American people over time.
I mean, you know that immigrants, undocumented and otherwise, also pay taxes, right?
So yeah, we got to invest in the beginning because this will be a short-term cost, but it's going to save us billions of dollars in long-term costs because the other costs are in perpetuity unless we get rid of them.
No, it's actually going to cost money, like a lot, to the economy to remove them. It's just vile, the lies that these people spew. Check this one out, Steve Bannon.
Why isn't the House bringing up more legislation? You know, the Speaker, where you at, Mike? Bringing up more bills so that we can codify everything Trump's doing. Because God forbid, Steve, a Democrat president gets in 4 years, they'll just undo everything.
Dan, what I think is actually a higher priority, even in codification of what he's doing legislatively on so many important things, is we got to codify the cuts that Doge either found or didn't find under his Article 2 powers. If they're not prepared to back the
Doge did not have Article anything powers to do what they did, first of all. And second, they cut almost no money, but they destroyed America's soft power in the world and a whole bunch of other goodwill programs and, you know, saving lives and research for cancer and child cancer research and kicking people off of Social Security who didn't deserve it, who were just like normal people doing their thing. Absolutely fucking disgusting. To save what? According to Elon Musk, $160 billion. $160 billion. As opposed to the $4.2 trillion in taxes that Donald Trump just cut. Just did it. 4.2 trillion in tax cuts compared to Musk's 160 billion. Great. So glad he did that. Destroy America's soft power for nothing.
rescissions, and they're not prepared to codify the at least the waste and the fraud that Doge says they found.
That Doge says they found. They didn't find any, is the thing. They have literally no proof.
Then we ought to go to impoundments and get it, but we got to get it out to the American people that this stuff was found, that actually Doge had a productive life.
So he said, go to impoundments. It kind of slipped by there. What he's referencing is the fact that it is illegal for the president to not disperse money that Congress has promised or whatever, that they created, like, you know, congressionally created programs. They congressionally created U.S. aid and said they need to do this thing and that thing. They have line items in the bills and everything, and it's been funded by Congress this whole time. Impoundments say Trump does not have the right to cancel out what Congress does. They have the power of the purse, period. So he's saying we need to get rid of impoundments or whatever. He's saying the president should take control of everything, become a full dictator, is what that means.
As chief executive officer of the United States government, that means he can impound money if he thinks programs have been done or not meeting their goals, and he can let go fire personnel.
No, it literally does not mean that. He's the chief leader in the government for one branch. Mike Johnson is a representative for another branch. And I'm not sure who the speaker of, or I'm not sure who the majority leader is in the Senate right now. But the point is, each branch has its own responsibilities. And the executive branch's responsibility is to fulfill the expectations of the legislative branch. You can't just not spend money that they appropriated for things.
One. Number two, he's commander-in-chief of the armed forces. If he wants to deport people and his commander-in-chief, under his commander-in-chief who are illegal aliens, he can deport them.
So he's saying there's no accountability because he controls the military. That's what that means.
Number three, he's the chief magistrate and the chief law enforcement officer.
Who the f told you that?
This is what they're fighting, and guess what? They are winning to the degree that to delay is to deny. And they realize this is a holding action.
Are they in the room with us right now, Steve? Democrats are not winning anything right now, unfortunately.
But right now, it's the only thing the radical Democrats have. And in their perspective, it's working because it's slowing down President Trump.
Right.
This is why it's a constitutional crisis right now.
It's a constitutional crisis because Democrats are fulfilling their constitutional oath by preventing Trump from breaking his. And they're not even successfully preventing him. So Trump isn't allowed to break his oath. And that is a constitutional crisis because he's not allowed to. Are you kidding me? Steve Bannon is like one of the most vile human beings on planet Earth, honestly. What's this one?
Harvard students are mad about losing a $3 billion grant, but their Ivy League schools already got a $53 billion endowment.
Harvard students are not upset about that. If you're unaware of this situation, Trump has decided to challenge Harvard. He told Harvard to fire people that he wanted fired and hire people that he wanted hired and change their curriculum, change the way that they teach, the things that they teach,
change, everything, change the makeup of their student body. And they said no, which is the right thing to do because fascists always want more. By capitulating to and appeasing fascists, like for example, like Hitler, by just giving him what he wanted and saying, fine, take it. He isn't going to stop. He's going to keep punching you in the nose until he has literally everything that you have, that he wants. There is no middle ground with fascists. They refuse to meet in the middle. They're going to take it all. So take the nose punch right now and don't give an inch. Harvard decided to do that. They're not giving an inch, which I respect the hell out of. But that means that Harvard is losing grants, not for students, but for research, like cancer research and stuff. That's not hurting Harvard. That's hurting us, like the taxpayers. And Trump is doing it to create, to give himself power solely. Aside from that, Harvard has a lot of money, billions. As this person said, 53 billion in endowments. I don't know if that's true, but it's a lot. But as with most nonprofits, the way it operates is they have, say, $1 billion in the bank, and that $1 billion is invested in, funds. It's invested in companies and Google and Netflix and every index stocks, and it gains interest every year. So you got $1 billion, right? And you're gaining, say, 2% interest every year on that. You're gaining $20 million a year. And that's what Harvard uses to fund their operations, to pay their professors, to run their buildings, to pay for utilities and fund programs and all that other stuff. That's what they use. So the money is not growing with interest. It's staying static because they're taking the interest that it earns and paying their bills with it. By taking that funding away, that $3 billion in funding, Trump is just hurting us. That's it.
Students are mad about losing a $3 billion grant, but their Ivy League schools already got a $53 billion endowment. Let's break it down. Harvard's endowment is the biggest in the world. In 2024, it shelled out $2.4 billion, funding 37% of their budget. That's $749 million for financial aid, including $250 million for undergrads. Sounds like they're doing just fine.
It sounds like that, but that's a complete misrepresentation of everything. Like if somebody told you they make $100,000 a year, that's not $100,000 that they have up front all right now in their pocket. That's spread out over the course of a year, and it all has to go to like paying rent and utilities and paying a car payment and school supplies and whatever other you have to pay for in life. Childcare and everything. They have to pay for stuff. This isn't just like money that they just had in their pocket and they're spending it because they want to. This is what propaganda is.
So again, why are they whining over $3 billion? Apparently over 80% of their endowment is locked up by donors for specific pet projects.
You mean invested? You mean the money is invested in the stock market? You mean it's gaining interest and they're using that interest to pay? Are you serious with this? This is how it works. This is how nonprofit organizations operate. The people that produced this have to know that. They can't possibly not know that. You cannot convince me that they looked all of these facts up and had no idea that this is how it works.
In 2017, the White Coat Waste Project exposed Harvard's use of $900,000 in taxpayer funds to modify mice genes, suppressing serotonin to test for increased aggression. Mice?
Are you serious? Do you have any idea how valuable scientific studies like that are? There's a famous video. I don't know if you guys have seen it. We're going to watch it. This is the kind of thing that religious nutcases do. They take things out of context and then laugh about it. There's a study that scientists were doing to figure out how much shrimp are affected by certain bacteria in the ocean so that they could know like which bacteria were harmful to shrimp so that they could, there are all kinds of useful things for this. Like which bacteria are the most damaging to certain plant and animal life, so on and so forth, right? Well, that got twisted into this funny little video here. The point is, it's funny to see a shrimp running on a treadmill underwater, but there was an actual purpose to this. It's funny to laugh about Harvard giving mice what, serotonin. There's a reason for this. They're not just doing this because they like dosing animals with. There's a point.
Don't share our genes. So that's wonderful news. Losing this grant might mean less cash for their woke initiatives or bloated administrative costs.
Like, what woke initiatives? Harvard woke?
So maybe, just maybe, it's time for Harvard to tighten its belt and actually prioritize what really matters instead of relying on government handouts. Remember,
They're not government handouts. The government is paying Harvard for a service. It's a contract. They're contracting with them.
grants are not entitlements. You're not owed anything, even if you're the top school in America.
Just complete propaganda all the way down. It is wild to see the degree of propaganda on this website, on these reels. One American News. Jesus Christ, dude. Anyway, tell me what you think about it in the comments. That's just wild.